guys, I'm Lilian, aka Stitchy Me on Instagram and here on YouTube. Thank you for joining me. I hope you found something of interest. Today is the 2nd of January 2024 and I am back with a new video. So today we are doing our New Year WIP Parade. Very exciting. Firstly, I want to say Happy New Year. I hope you've all had an amazing Christmas and holidays, and I wish you all the best for 2024. Let's just get into things, because we've got a lot to go through. For those of you who like the numbers, please don't compare yourself to me. For some of you this might be a lot, for some of you this might be very, very little. Don't compare it. I'm just telling you for those of you who would like to know. So all of my goals together, added up together, totaled to 25,343 stitches over 2023. I have actually done 29,064 stitches. So yeah, I've done quite a bit more than what was my actual goal. And this doesn't include all of my knitting and crochet and stuff, it's just cross stitch. And the goal for 2024, I have upped the stakes a little bit, just because I had a few things that I really wanted to reach. So number-wise, I wanted to reach next year, and they just totaled up to this number. So I'm just gonna roll with it and see how we do. My goal for next year, for this year, is gonna be 35,105 stitches. And how we get to that number I will get into later on. Yeah, so that's the overall picture. Then the reflection on WIP Go of 2023. I had two boards. One board was all of my stitching and one board was all of my knitting and crochet stuff. So stitching, other crafts. And so the first board, the stitching board, I did pretty well, in my opinion. I'll put it up on the screen here. I only did not meet one goal. That was one of the last goals here in December, or here in December, it's January, but in last month. Both blocks that were picked for last month were Twilight Bridge. First of all, I'm not really enjoying that project. We'll get back to that. So that's one of the reasons why I didn't reach it, but also December is very busy for me. I've had my birthday on the 10th. We have also got another holiday called Sinterklaas here in the Netherlands on the 5th of December. Although I didn't really do much with that, but still makes it busier. I'm working now 4 days a week, and then next to that Christmas and New Year's and everything. So I didn't really have a lot of time. So yeah, that's why I didn't reach that one goal. And then on my other board, I'll put it up on the screen here, I did not reach 6 of the goals. 5 of those were finished but not in time. And that still means for my reward system that they don't count for the rewards. So then I'm counting all of the columns and rows. And for the knitting and crochet board, I've only got 1 column and 1 row completed, so a WIP Go. And I've got 4 rows and 4 columns for the stitching board, which means totals to 10 rows and columns times 1.5 bucks. So 25 euros goes into my digital piggy bank for knitting and crochet and stitching mainly. So that's nice. I'll see what I spend it on. Maybe it'll sit there for a bit of time, but maybe the next hate that I want to start, perhaps, I can buy with that money. Okay. Now, let's see. So I want to work towards showing you my 2024 WIP Go boards, but I came to the conclusion that it would be more logical if I show you the projects first and reflect on last year, and tell you what I want to do with them this year, and then get into the boards themselves. So that's what we're gonna do. Firstly though, I have a finish that I want to show you. You've seen this before, but it's part of the year, so that's why I'm showing you. This was Ukraine, finished it. Oh, I didn't write down when I started and when I finished it, but I think I worked on it for over a year, even though it's very small. But I worked on it for a few stitches every now and then, just to be aware while I'm stitching this of what's happening. So for Ukraine I have done 1923 stitches in 2023, and it's done on a 18 count Ada, 2/1 cross stitch. Yes, so that's Ukraine. Now I've got Twilight Bridge, and this is the one that I told you I'm not really enjoying. I am really enjoying the picture. So this is Twilight Bridge, Dimensions Gold Collection Kit, artwork by Dimensions, I guess. And, well, no, the artwork is by someone else. Designed by Richard Burns. I don't think I ever mentioned it. That's very, very sad. I should be telling you guys. And I'm doing it with everything that came with the kit, including the 18 count Ada. And let's see, I'll put in a picture of where it was last time, because this is the only one I've worked on since then. And there you can see the comparison, hopefully. And then I'll also put in a picture of where it was last year. So that's what we've done, and since last year I have done 2,922 stitches, and I didn't write down the number for since the last time you've seen this, but in December I've worked on this for 1,000 something. I think it was 1,064 stitches, so quite a bit for what I'm used to of myself working on this project. Well, okay, so what I was saying, I am enjoying the picture. I really, really like it. That's why I'm still continuing to work on it, or at least I plan to. And my boyfriend also really likes the picture. This is his favorite project of mine, so I don't really want to UFO it, or unfinished object. Yeah, UFO it. But yeah, so I don't really enjoy it because mainly it's not a digital pattern, so it's paper pattern, and it's really hard for me to. I'm really spoiled with Pattern Keeper, so yeah. And I have decided to not put it in with my goals for next year. I was planning to just keep on working, like 1 page a year, just to eventually get it done, because I do really want to finish it. It's still due. I will pick it up next year, but this year, 2024, it's not in with my goals, because I have already, all the other goals already added up to 35,000 stitches, which is 6,000-ish more than I did this year. So that's already ambitious, and I didn't want to add like another 4,000 for a page on this project, which those 4,000 would be very, very slow going, because this, I do like 70 stitches an hour on this project, and I've got other projects where I can do, if I have a good day, like 150, almost twice, or well, more than twice the amount in an hour. So those 4,000 would be very tough to get through. But yeah, that's Twilight Bridge. So that's going on a break for next year, but it's definitely not getting UFO'd. It's just because I didn't have any more space for more goals for next year. And then this one was the obvious one to leave out. Okay. Waterhole Master is the next one. this was my first ever Heaven and Earth designs. So, like I said, design, Heaven and Earth designs, artwork by David Penfound. I'm stitching all of my Heaven and Earths on a 28 count, easy count Strike-Art fabric. 2/1 10 stitch. Okay, so I'll try to put a picture in of where it was last time. There. Maybe you can tell. I'll put it up close. Since last year I have done 7,542 stitches. It's now up to 15.07% done. And 15% was the goal, so that's complete now, which is very exciting. Next year's goal, or 2024's goal, will be to get it up to 20%. So another 5% to get through. And how that translates to my WIP board we'll get into later on. So I'm very excited myself to see the comparison of the beginning of the year to this year, because I have added a lot of color. Oh, and by the way, for those of you who are new, I keep forgetting that this is a video that likely some people are gonna be new. Obviously I'm working on this extreme cross country, so I started doing all of the black. And then I started with the color with the least amount of stitches, working my way up to the color with the most amount of stitches. And I'm now into the colors with 1,000+ stitches each. So, that is Waterhole Master. The floor's clean, we'll just put it there. Okay. Next page. Usually my scripts are only one page of this note block. I've now got 3, so yeah. Oh yeah, Spring Queen. I know we're not supposed to have favorites, but this might be my favorite. Just saying. Getting the threads out of the way. So this is Spring Queen, artwork by Amy Ashwood, by Heaven and Earth Designs as well, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. Oh yeah, it's the max color. Also working this on a 28 count, easy count Strike-Art fabric, like I'm working on with all of my Heaven and Earths, which is just 3 projects, but still. Let's see, how do we do this? Okay, yeah, so I'll put in a picture of where it was last year. And here we are now. So we are getting somewhere. It's so beautiful. Let's see. So it's now up to 5.35% done. I believe the goal was 5%. And the goal for next year will be 10%. So that will be quite a bit. Almost double what we have now. And I'm working on this. I started this with Amy from Creativity by Gidge. I'll link her down below. So in this year, in 2023, I've done 12,204 stitches. That's a lot. And next year is going to be more of the same. Well, I think it's going to be a little bit more than that even. So that's beautiful. That's Spring Queen. This is going to be my focus basically. I'll have to see when we get into the WIP boards, but I believe over half of the board is Spring Queen. Yeah. Okay. Then, mini reading time. This is mini reading time. Artwork by Randall Spangler. Charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. Working on this with Laura. I'll link her down below as well. Also on a 28 count easy count strike-art fabric. And I'm doing something very weird for most of you. And if you're new here, please don't be scared. This is how my brain works. My brain likes all kinds of different methods. A lot of people love one method and stick with that. I choose a different method for every single project, and this is kind of madness in a lot of people's eyes. So that's what we have, and I'll try to put a picture above it of where it was last year, and then you can compare it. So since last year, I have done 4,152 stitches, and there are gonna be a lot more stitches in here by this time next year. So if you are wondering what the frick I'm doing here, basically there's a lot more to it, and I have explained the entirety of my thought process in a video dedicated for the new start of this. So if you scroll back through my videos, there's a Flosstube extra, probably called it, for starting a new height, for starting this one. And I have a section in there explaining my entire method. But the long story short, for every page, for every 2 blocks that I do, so these are just the blocks, 10 by 10 blocks. For every 2 that I do in one page, I do 1 more in the next. So if there's here, in this last page here, there's 3 blocks. So there's 1 in the page underneath here. When I add another block in here, I can add a second block in this page, which means 1 block in the next page over. If you will. Hope you understand what I'm saying. So yeah, mini reading time. Really, really loving this. And I also love how quickly-ish, well, compared to other heights, it comes together, because it's a mini. So that's going pretty quickly. Okay, so now I've gotten through everything I needed to show you for the first board, and then we'll get into the other stuff. Because for 2024 I'm doing things a little bit differently. So in 2023, like I told you, I did a board for stitching and a board for knitting and crochet. For 2024, I wanted to focus more on my Heaven and Earth designs. So I now have a board completely dedicated to these 3 projects, these 3 Heaven and Earth designs. And then I have the second board for all the other stuff. So knitting, crochet, but also my rainbow band template is coming up, for example. Because that's not on Heaven and Earth. So that's a bit of a difference from last year. But yeah, I will insert the board that I'm talking about here. So this is the board for 2024, all of the Heaven and Earth designs. First of all, for Spring Queen, I have 13 blocks in there for a total of 17,586 stitches. That will get me to the 10%, yes, the 10% that I need to complete. 12 of those blocks are 1400 stitches. I've got 1 block in there, that's the remaining 786 stitches. And I've put that one in the middle purposefully, because when that block gets called, a third block gets called as well. So whenever I have to stitch on that goal, I know I'm already very busy for that month, so I've put the block with the least amount of stitches in the middle, if that makes sense. Then I've got 8 blocks for Waterhole Master for a total of 12,719 stitches. 7 of those is one color. So every time one gets called, so it's an extreme cross-country project, like I showed you, and I'm working my way up to the one with the most amount of stitches, the color with the most amount of stitches. So the next color, so every time this one gets called, I will work on the next color. Now I have one block in there that's one color plus 286 stitches. That's the remaining 286 stitches that I needed after the 8 colors to reach my goal. And that's the block that got called somehow for January immediately. So I will probably what I'm gonna do, but you will see in the next video, is I will work on just the next color, but then I will start working on the color that's like the 9th color from now, if that makes sense, because then I can just complete the other 7 colors. How do I explain this? I hope this makes sense. But like I said, I have 8 colors to complete this year. And just to not make it complicated for every color that's coming, to have to calculate those 200 something stitches in between, I might just work on that first color, skip all the others for this month, and then do the 200 something colors on the 9th color that I don't have to complete this year. So then I can, every time it gets called, just dedicate one entire color to that goal and not have to calculate anything, if that makes any sense. So that would have me slightly deviating from the strict method that I'm using, but it would make sense in my head. And lastly, I have 4 blocks dedicated to mini reading time for a total of 4,800 stitches to get me to that 10% goal. And that will be 4 blocks of 12,000 stitches. Oh, I'm getting cold. Give me a second. And we're back. Sorry for the brief interruption. I got a call. Yeah, I think we were done anyways with the 2024 WIP Hefner Designs board. So let's just continue. So now I will show you all of the projects that are on the second board, and then we'll show you the board itself. Something I did want to mention, but I don't have to show you, is that I did finish 2 pairs of socks, one for my mom and 1 pair for my boyfriend, but I don't have those to show you here because they are using them. But yeah, you have seen them in previous videos, and but I did want to mention them because they were part of 2023. Okay, now something exciting is that I had a new start, which was the Rainbow Band Sampler, the Twisted Rainbow Band Sampler by Northern Expressions Needleworks. So, I started this on Dutchmania, which is also very exciting. So, this is the project, if you don't know it. A lot of people do know it. And the concept is that you have, every other band is a specialty stitch band. So you have a band with just cross stitch, and then you have a band with some kind of specialty stitch. And that's very, very exciting. So this is going to be my first deep dive into specialty stitching. Plus it's a rainbow, so we all love colors, or at least I do. And so it was a new start, so there's no comparison picture. Firstly, let me show you the fabric. This is a very cool fabric, if you can tell. It's slightly marbled. It's a grey slate marble. I think you can tell somehow. And this is the label in here? No. Oh, shoot. If I remember, I will put it on the screen. But it's a, I believe it was a 28 count. But if not, I will put it on the screen anyway. So this is what we're up to now. Just the first two colors. And then the next band will be a specialty stitch. So this was... in 2023 I've done 321 stitches. That's this bit. And I did all of this in Dutch Mania. And for 2024 I have the goal to complete 3 bands. So not that much. I didn't have that much space left over after the goals on the Heaven and Earth designs. But yeah, that is what we are working with. Beautiful. Then, okay, the last few projects are all the way over there. So, the sweater, which is there. I am crocheting a sweater which should be finished, should have been a long time ago for my mom. With this yarn, it was 2 giant balls. This one is already getting a bit smaller, but it was giant. Of yarn, acrylic yarn. Just my first sweater, didn't really want to put too much money to the fabric. I have completed so far the back panel. Yes, back panel. And the front panel. And I am in love with the braid, with the cable stitching. And my goal is to finish it like it was last year. But this time I really want to finish it for next winter for my mom to use. And how I am dividing those goals I will get into when we get to the WIP goal board. Next up is the blanket. I am knitting a blanket for my best friend. And that is taking quite a long time. But it's a blanket. So it's... I'm not okay with the sweater not being finished. That one should have been finished a long time ago. The blanket though, it's a lot of work. I can deal with it taking a bit of time. And my best friend can as well, thankfully. Thank you for being patient. With these colors, got a white, a black, a grey and a very light pink. She likes pink, but she also likes subtle stuff, so that's how we try to make it subtle. Oh, that was very scary. I just pulled out the needles out of the blanket, but I know that I'm not working on a specific square, so I could pull them out, but this was still very scary. Okay, so what I've done is I have put in stitch markers for the squares I've done since the last time you've seen this. 10 squares in total. Except for this one, I ran out of stitch markers, but this one obviously was also done because I first had to do these two, which are new as well. So, let me try to show you the entire thing, which is going to be difficult. But here we go. Okay. So, here, these two were new. Yes. Going across. And then a lot of stuff is new on this side. Oh, I love the stitch markers. Yeah. And what I'm trying to do is get it all on one row. So I have to fill in this gap. And then we'll be on one straight line. And so the entire bottom is done. I just have to work my way up. And it's basically done for a third of the way, approximately. And in order to, I measured what I have to do to finish it. And approximately I have to do about 70 more squares. So yeah, that's quite a bit, but I have put it on my WIP board, and like I said, we'll just see how far we get. But I am really loving how this is coming out. Also, for those of you who are new, or I don't think I've told you recently, but for those of you who might have forgotten or are new, so we've got solid blocks of every color: the pink, the white and the grey. I'm using the black only as border stitches and on the edges here for the triangles to fill it up. And then what I do is I take them on the diagonal, the colors. So you can see this square is a combination of the white and the grey. This square is a combination of the pink and the grey. And then this is a combination of the white and the pink. So that's how we get to the color combinations. It's all logical. And so that also means you get back to solid colors a few rows up here. Because then they cross, like this is the grey with the grey over there. So yeah. Okay, that's the blanket. I want to finish it. And those were all of the projects. So let's see. Okay, I'll put up the other board, the other board, literally, for the all of the projects except for the Heaven and Earth designs. Firstly, I have for the sweater, I have 6 blocks on there. And they all say 1 step, air quotes. So firstly, let me tell you what that means. I have divided all of the stuff that I still need to do on the to complete the sweater into 6 categories, 6 steps. So the first time it gets called, I will crochet along the top and seam the sides. So I have to like do, I think it was literally called crochet along the top. So along the top of the back panel and along the top of the shoulders of the front panel. And then seam the sides together. That's 1 month of goal. And then the second time it gets called, I will do 1 sleeve. On 1 sleeve I'll do the increases, so that's like half of the sleeve. And then the next time it gets called, I will do the other half of the sleeve. And then the next time it gets called, I will do the 1 half of the second sleeve. And again 1 half of the second sleeve. And then the last time it gets called, I will do the cuffs and the board along the bottom. So that's how I have divided it up into 6 different blocks. So yeah, that's the sweater part. Then I have the, for the blanket, like I said, I want to finish it, so I'll have to do around 70 squares, which I've divided into 14 blocks, aka 5 squares per block, per time it gets called. Then I have the rainbow band sampler, the twisted rainbow band sampler on there. My goal was 3 bands, so I have 3 blocks on there for each 1 band. And then I have 2 blocks left over, which I put in other projects. That's basically for a free card for me to start something new. I have some projects that I want to start. For example, I want to start knitting socks for myself. And I also, there was something else. Oh yeah, like mittens, like gloves for my best friend as well. So those are things that I want to start whenever I have one of those blocks called. And I believe the ones that were called for January, so I did, believe it or not, but I did set up the entire WIP boards before I knew what the numbers were, even before they were called. So I have for January the sweater and the blanket were called. So I will be crocheting along the top and seaming the sides of the sweater and doing 5 more squares on the blanket. And for the height board I have Spring Queen 1400 stitches and Waterhole Master 1 color plus the 286 stitches that I need to complete my goal in the end of the year. So yeah, bless you to my dad, if you could hear him. I believe that's it. Yes, that was the entire board, both of them. So yeah, that was the New Year WIP Parade. For those of you who are wondering how I'm doing great, although I am very much tired from the holiday season in general. I do really enjoy all of the, how we say in Dutch is gezelligheid, which there's no translation for in English. But it's basically, I enjoy all the company and the fun times and whatever. But they do take quite a toll on me. They do take quite a bit of energy. So I'm trying to reload and regain some energy for working season again, because I'm starting work tomorrow again. I'm very grateful that I still had this 2nd of January off, this Tuesday. And then, so that was an extra bit of recovery time for me. Although I am recording and editing and all of it for this video, but that's something I chose to do and I really enjoy. So yeah, I'm doing well, tired but well. So thank you very much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. Happy stitching. Bye guys.